Hello and welcome back. Today we are... Actually, I'm not entirely sure where we are, and I think I need some help in trying to figure that out. So, Mr. Tim Curry, can you please tell me where I am?
Space!
Thank you, Tim. Anyway, this is the space battles that Wargame introduced in the latest update. And they've done this a couple of times before. And it's the same principle. They take a bunch of tier 10 ships, slap on some spaceship camos, move them down to another tier, and paint the maps as well in some freaky way. And although it's basically the same thing as the normal battles, they sometimes try some different things. Like, for example, with the moving storms that they have nowadays. And here they're actually trying some new things with the caps. And it's kind of interesting, so we'll see how that goes. But here on the epicenter, basically normally you go into a circle and you start capping that and any circle outside of it. So if you are in the center circle, you will cap all of them unless the enemy team has ships in any of the circles themselves. But here you're actually only capping the circle you are in. Which means that if we, for example, have a ship in the center cap, but not in the middle and outer circle, we will only cap the center one. And if the enemy team has ships in either the middle or the outer or both, they will cap them, even though we had a ship in the middle. So it kind of changes a bit how to play on the epicenter, and it's interesting. They're also doing some things with basically a standard battle, where they have two very large caps, and you spawn on the enemy cap actually. And after a while they start shrinking, and since your cap is on the other side, you need to try and stay within the circle as it continues to shrink. So some differences. We'll see how they are eventually implemented in the normal game, or if they are at all. Enough about the background. In this particular game, I am playing the Galaxy, which is a Des Moines. Sadly, you can't really choose upgrades and such, so you get what you get and can't really change much. We can see that we do get range upgrade, but we definitely do not have the acceleration one, and certainly not the legendary. And we will see that that is a bit of a frustration later on. With me in this game I also have Pref, who is playing the Paris, which is the Republic. At this point I'm trying to finish the last mission for these space battles. And I basically need a bunch of kills on the different types of ships, but not really a major point in this. It's also worth mentioning that the people who go to this game mode are not exactly the best players around. And you will see a couple of examples of this throughout the rest of the game. I decided to leave the Blue Aster or the Z52, instead chase the enemy galaxy. hoping to get some good AP salvos off. He's pretty angled, but for whatever reason he decided it's a great idea at less than 6 km to start giving broadside to a Des Moines. And I thank him with 1 Citadel. And eventually I get another one, and with one more he is gone. Very questionable, but that's more or less the kind of players you see here a lot of the time. I do eventually notice the Aurora or the Mosca, who is actually standing still, or he was hiding behind island, is now reversing. And if I go north of this closest island here, I will have perfect broadside. So I start rushing towards him. He is radaring me, so he knows I will be coming. Or at least he has the potential to know. Seeing what he does, it makes me wonder if he even knows he has a minimap. But either way, he shows me a very, very nice broadside, and as soon as I clear the island, I say thank you, and I put in 27k salvos, 5 Citadels. I get another 4, another 22. Sadly, I don't get the kill because the Sow managed to burn him down. But in 2 salvos, I get another 9 Citadels. And at this point, I'm basically laughing my ass off, and Pref is wondering what the hell is going on here. Because what that Moscow is doing, that's just... I am beyond words, actually. That's just too stupid to be true. Sentry Hawk or the Hindenburg is also nice enough to show me some broadside. And who am I to be anything but polite and give him another Citadel. Ran behind an island, so I start taking some longer shots at the Old Destroyer or the Curve first. Some more torpedoes incoming from the Hindenburg, but I've seen them and they only have very short range, so they run out way before they reach me. Then he's actually turning back in, giving me another broadside, and why not at this point? So I continue to shoot at broadsided cruisers, and one more Citadel. Not that time. And not that time. But eventually I get one more. And that brings me up to a total of 15 Citadels and 116,000 damage. Sadly I missed a kill on the Hindenburg as well, so that's a bit annoying considering I had killed both the Moscow and the Hindenburg mostly by myself, but it is what it is. Moving up a bit, starting to shoot at the Old Destroyer again. Favoring the AP since it's giving me a pretty good broadside. As I go beyond the island, I contemplate switching, but eventually I go back as he pushes out. Try to stick near the island to minimize the damage I take. Still gets hit a bit, but it's mostly the enemy galaxy that is annoying me, and once he pops out I start shooting over towards him to see if I can take him out and then continue dealing with the battleships. I'm down to about half HP, but the The galaxy goes down, and I can now continue to deal with the 4 remaining battleships. There is also an enemy destroyer, but I'm currently not aware where he is. But he will be around in a short while. Pushing up a bit again to see if I can get a detection on any of the battleship, and one of the Curfers are still behind that island in front of me, and I have no issues lobbing shells over there. He's behind a slightly bigger part of the island now, so I'm waiting a bit for him to clear that part, and as I do so I take some shots at the other one before going back. Now on the minimap we will now see the enemy destroyer is on the other side of the island I'm hugging. And it looks like he's trying to go around it to deal with me. He's stopping though, probably because he's detected. And I activate the Hydro to make sure I know when he's coming. Even though he's full HP, he decides to not rush me currently. I mean, I was aiming at him and I had my Hydro running, so I would be able to deal with him fairly easily if he did. So while I'm waiting for him to make his move, I go back to shoot at one of the battleships. And I mean, this is basically a Des Moines dream. Shoot a battleship without being detected, and cruisers giving you broadside. When he knows I'm shooting, he decides to rush me, and here we see the lack of acceleration. It's really painful to get going. Trying to turn my guns. Eventually I get it on him, start shooting, get some hits from Pref as well, and then detonation. I'm pretty sure at this point Pref didn't even think it was fun anymore, because this is just a completely ridiculous game. Cruisers giving me broadside all the time. Detonations on the destroyer, and battleships that I'm basically just farming. And crossing 200,000 damage without much hassle. The game is very nearly about to end. I just need to finish the curve first and then deal with Paris. And I just see my damage ticking as I keep throwing AP rounds into the Curve's broadsides. And I'm doing a pretty good amount of damage. So there's no point switching to HE. Eventually it goes down to a fire I had before, and that is my 4th kill. Now it's just the Paris left. Pref is making him go broadside to me, but he hits him and we win the game. And a quick view of the result screens as well. We see that I managed to break 265,000 damage, which is pretty good. 15 Citadels. Obviously a lot of thanks to the cruisers that decided it was an excellent idea to give broadside to Des Moines. But like I said, not the brightest people playing this game mode, so it's to some extent expected. Base-wise, 1900, you don't get that much here. It's still about 800 more than Pref, and then it just goes down after that. 4 kills as well, so that's pretty nice. Sadly, couldn't get either the Hindenburg or the Moscow because people kept stealing my kills. Looking at the damage, we see that 66,000 on one of the Curfers, the one that I killed. Some Citadels on Galaxy, killed him, got detonation on the Blue Aster, and I also killed another Galaxy at a longer range. Then of course we have the Aurora of the Moskva. I did 48,000 damage in 2 salvos, and only the front guns at that, so definitely a very good payoff on those shells. Then I have some more damage on the second curve first, and Hindenburg of course, and then Paris, but pretty well spread. Very minimum amount of damage from HE shells. Almost enough for a potential Witherer, even though you don't have that in this mode, but still. And then of course most of my damage was from AP. But that pretty much sums it up. Very strange game, highly amusing, for me at least. Pretty much thought it was enough after the first time, but the enemy team decided to just keep giving broadside, and Wargaming decided to give me detonations and all kinds of things. So I pretty much just have to say thank you and upload this game, because it's definitely a pretty hilarious game and worth preserving. Either way, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.